5 keys to victory for Anthony Joshua and Oleksandr Usyk in their rematch of what was actually a mismatch. So first, we're going to start off by taking a look at Anthony Joshua's keys to victory. First, controlling Usyk with the body attack. He's got to keep Usyk off of the front foot. Number 2, controlling with the rear hand. Now, Joshua spent a lot of time controlling with just the lead hand, probing and trying to control the space with the lead hook and the lead jab, and he got annihilated. Number 3, the pull counter to the body. A lot of the times in the fight, Joshua was throwing his pull counters to the head, and Usyk was not actually able Joshua was not actually able to land many of those punches, but the head moves a lot faster than the body. Number 4, the sweeping right hands are going to be very important for Joshua in this fight. Usyk has a habit of pulling straight back when lead left hand will come or lead right hand will come, and Joshua can actually loop that shot around the guard and catch Usyk as he's coming in if he does it well. And number 5, timing Usyk's patterns. Okay, now we're going to kind of take a look at what all these things kind of mean, and we're going to talk about those patterns, and we're going to start taking a look right here. Now, number 1, Usyk likes to get to the line controlling it with the lead hand, and these positions here, they allow him to see what Joshua is going to be doing when he gets to the front foot, and Usyk is able to kind of probe Joshua, slip to the front foot, and kind of play around with that front foot. However, Usyk doesn't always fight out of this position. He doesn't always fight after he slips to the front foot. He's kind of just looking for information. So Joshua can get a lot of value out of probing, pushing Usyk to the front foot, and then making a large body attack. Now, that also goes hand in hand with the idea of controlling with your rear hand. So we continue to take another look at the clip as we see he moves to the front foot there, but he doesn't bring his rear hand with him, not allowing him to feint, probe, or catch the jab from his opponent if he were to have thrown one in that moment there. Now, number 3, using his pull counters and going to the body. As we can see, the body moves a lot slower than the head, and even though this shot may have connected, Joshua was going to find much more success countering Usyk to the body, especially in the early rounds, because of the fact that Usyk knows the punches, quote-unquote, knows that they're going to be coming to his head. Now, if we also take a look at the dynamic of this block here, it goes also hand in hand with number 4, which was the sweeping right hand. Notice Joshua here throwing this shot straight, and Usyk having an opportunity to intercept it with his lead hand, or whether with his rear hand, and being able to block it or parry it, something that Joshua does not do. If we take back a look here, and Usyk is coming forward with his own rear hand, Joshua does not have his rear hand in a position. As we take a look at the line, it looks decent there, but it's pointed more toward his chin than at his opponent's glove. So it's not really looking to be played here, as the jab comes out here, and Joshua does not seem to get control of it, of the rear hand, with his lead hand here, or with his rear hand as well. Now, as we continue to take a look at this clip here, again, Usyk slipping a lot to the front foot, and one thing that you notice when you're mirroring someone's positions is when they slip to the front foot, this is going to be a signal sometimes for him to be throwing his lead left hand. And as he slips to the front foot, Joshua recognizes that, oh, I got to get off that line. If there was a punch directed at me, it may be coming. Now, as Usyk slips to this position and he kind of triggers Joshua and he says, oh, danger, Joshua needs to be using this position, again, to control with his rear hand. And again, controlling with your rear hand can mean a lot of things. Number 1, slipping to this position, and say this punch did come, he could intercept it with his rear hand block, or catch rather, and parry that shot, and also wind up setting up an opportunity to throw a left hand here. He could also, again, attack the body on the front foot, again, needing to make more adjustments with his rear hand than his lead hand, as he was very active in the first fight with his lead hand and not his rear hand. So again, getting to this position and then noticing that Usyk is in this front foot position and he doesn't often throw a lot of punches from here. Okay, so he needs to take advantage of that and again fire this shot again to the body, because the body moves a lot less than the head does. Now we're going to take a look at another clip again This one, again, a little bit more appropriate for him, probing here. And then notice when the jab comes, Joshua had made zero attempt to catch that jab with his rear hand, even though he wasn't really doing anything with his rear hand. Again, looking to control the line more often with his rear hand and interact with his opponent with his rear hand is going to be a key strategy for Joshua, and not allowing Usyk to kind of hit him with silly stuff. Again, this punch could have been easily caught with his rear hand catch, as well as the straight left hand in the first clip. Now, another strategy that's going to be very effective for Joshua, again, as we saw in the first clip, Usyk likes to pull out sometimes straight back, and in this situation, he brings his rear hand forward to kind of parry. Again, very common strategy to parry those straight punches, but in the open stance, it's very difficult to tell if that's going to be a straight punch or a wide punch, a looping punch. And you can see at the end of the 6th round, Joshua winds up catching Usyk with the big looping shot. Now, this is a shot that he can throw standing still. He can throw it wide. He can throw it when Usyk is in any position, as long as he kind of aims behind where Usyk is, because Usyk is going to, again, use this very common pattern, bring his right hand forward to kind of parry, and then throw his head back and get caught with this shot. Now, he can do that in this position here, or he can do it in situations where his opponent does this here, slipping to the front foot and then timing him with the right hand after. Again, Joshua needs to, number 2, control more space with his rear hand. All right, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the next clip. Number 5, timing his pattern. Now, we're going to go back to the first clip and talk about that as well, but what I want you guys to pay attention to is how Usyk is going to jump forward here, jump back, jump forward, and now Joshua times him there with a body shot, okay? But he's going to jump forward with the jab, jump back, and then as he jumps forward, Joshua's timing him with the right hand to the body. This is exactly what he needs to do. And let me explain just a little bit more about what Usyk's pattern is. As we can see here, coming in on the sixth round, landing a whopper of a shot, a really excellent shot. But again, Usyk's going to go for jumping here and then jump off and jump here. And again, Joshua is controlling the space with the right hand. This is more of a probe, even though this can be a very powerful punch. It's more of a probe. It's a quick shot to time someone as they're coming in. And again, controlling the space with the rear hand. But as we go back to this first clip, okay, we're going to watch Usyk, and he's going to be moving around, slipping. And notice he's not jumping in or out. He's just kind of moving, probing. And then as soon as he starts jumping, he starts moving into attack. Okay, this is very important because when Usyk is not trying to punch, he's actually not jumping. He uses this jumping here, boom, boom, as a rhythm to start getting his momentum going so he can kind of fly into this rear left hand here that he throws onto the line. Now, we're going to see a few more clips about this as well, but we're going to go ahead and move on to Usyk's keys to victory. Now, number 1, slow the tempo down, okay? As we saw in the last few of those clips, Joshua was able to catch Usyk jumping in and being timed on that timing and eating big shots, not only getting to the line, making his weight very easy to read, but it's also going to put him in that position where his weight is stuck there, and it's going to give Joshua, who has the reach advantage, much more opportunity to land combinations, especially in the second fight, now that he's kind of seen what Usyk can do. And again, we've seen what Joshua can do in rematches, so I do expect him to have a pretty decent game plan. Again, he's going to have a decent understanding of what Usyk was doing, although I think Usyk kind of fought, I don't want to say at a low level, right, but he kind of fought at the level of his competition. So number 1, slow down the tempo, okay? We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But number 2, defend his front foot position. As we saw at the end of the first clip, very important clip, when he gets on the line, he's getting into his rhythm, he gets here into this position, and he falls straight out of this position. But number 1, he's getting caught leaving. Number 2, he doesn't have the opportunity to counter from here, okay? And it's going to be very important that he can, because Joshua was looking to pull counter and react much more than be the offensive one in the fight. And that means that, again, one of most of Joshua's biggest opportunities to fight Usyk are going to be when Usyk makes it onto his line. So kind of either countering because Usyk sloppily set something up, or countering by proxy by probing something, right? Giving something to look at and then drawing a counter and then countering the counter. So Usyk is going to have to get used to being the one who's making it to the front foot first and making it to this front foot position after throwing the straight left, and finding a way to take this dominant position that he has here, as he knows Joshua's going to be leaving that position, and then trying to re-enter with his counters, because as he's not going to have very many other opportunities to attack Usyk because he's not as fast, right? It's going to be easier for Usyk to time him coming in than it will be for Joshua to time Usyk coming in. And that means that Usyk is very likely, again, going to wind up being the actual aggressor. So we're going to take a look at a couple of things. Now, again, this clip here's Usyk playing around on the front foot, but not really getting any work done. And then notice, as soon as he's ready to start working, hop, hop, and he starts jumping into the line, and you can see his little footwork get ready, and it allows Joshua to probe, and then right-hand probe and time him. Again, Usyk's not only going to have to start fighting out of this position, okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too when we get to number 3, but he's going to have to learn to defend that front foot position to make sure that he's not just getting blasted when he gets onto the line with Joshua. Now, here we go into this next clip here. And this is going to be a little bit of Usyk pull counter, or Usyk key to victory and Joshua's key to victory. We're going to kind of combine them a little bit. But for Usyk, this is going to be number 2. Again, the pull counter coming, and Usyk not really countering, not really attacking Joshua as he gets on the line with him. Even though he's getting control of that punch, he's not really coming back with anything. And again, this is going to be a very, very common pattern in the fight, and one of the most common for Joshua to make an attack onto Usyk's line. So he's going to have to find a way to get value out of this position. Now, as I said, this is going to be one of the most common patterns in the fight. So Joshua's going to have to figure out how to get a little bit of not just control of Usyk, right, getting him into this position, blocking it, but he's going to have to get value out of his pull counters as well. So again, for his number 3, he's going to have to pull counter and attack the body. Again, Usyk is going to be very good at defending his head and hiding his head, but he needs to find a way to interact with him and get value out of these, not just control him and maybe set up a left hand to the body over this side, right? So, but again, this is going to be a position that Usyk is going to be very commonly getting to before Joshua can interact with him, and he's going to have to find a way to make it from this position safely back to his position 1 and interact with Joshua at the same time. Either getting off the line and making sure he doesn't get hit, which is very difficult. He has to block headshots and body shots, as we can see, or just straight up countering Joshua and finding another opportunity to score there. Now, another key to victory for Usyk is probing with the rear hand, okay? Now, as Usyk makes it to this front foot here, he's not really doing anything, okay? And he's not threatening Joshua's position. He's not pushing him off of the front foot or pushing him off of his line. So the next time he slips to that front foot here, Joshua says, okay, well, I know he's not going to punch me. I know he doesn't fight here. I know what the timing is that he uses. So Joshua feels very comfortable just stepping into a big hook and kind of smacking Usyk here. Now, again, Usyk needs to find a way to get value out of this position. And again, this is kind of multiple keys to victory for him. Not only does he have to learn how to fight out of this pattern, this movement here, but he needs to find a way to control and defend his front foot position. Again, when he makes it to this position, coming out of this position with a right cross, coming out of this position with a right hook. But he has to do something when he makes it to the front foot, because Joshua is finding opportunities to attack him. But he also has to find a way to fight out of this position to slow the tempo down, right? Again, not getting into his jumping rhythm pattern and making it easy for Joshua to time him coming in. So again, there's a lot of growth that's going to have to happen for Usyk, and I want to say it's growth because he's shown the capability of doing this stuff in the past, just never against someone as tall or with as much range as Joshua, kind of making it a little bit more difficult. Anyway, learning to throw punches as he slips into these positions to control the space and stop Joshua from feeling comfortable throwing this punch, or so that he can set up his own counters to it, and being able to move to this position, probe Joshua, and then force him to throw this punch. The next key to victory is Usyk's using slip counters, okay? Now, slip counters are much different than pull counters. Pull counters, you're going to leave the line and then move back into it with an attack. And a slip counter is going to be, you're going to be waiting in a position for your opponent to attack it. And then when you move out of that position, you're going to make an attack on their position. Now, this situation here being an excellent opportunity for Usyk to have left this position and come back with the right cross or his own leaping right hook to hit Joshua, or maybe a body shot, but as well as situations like this where he gets on the line with Joshua and Joshua probes him and he can slip to the front foot and then land his straight left hand. Again, because of the fact that Usyk doesn't often fight outside of his rhythm, he doesn't actually probe in these positions as often as he should. And if Joshua can get more control of Usyk with his rear hand, he can take advantage of that. But at the pace at which Joshua fights and often only controls with the lead hand, it doesn't really matter because Usyk feels that he can move to this position, to the front foot, most of the time for free. Again, one of the keys to victory for Joshua is exploiting this position against Usyk, because as we come full circle in the film study, we see that Usyk is able to make it to this position, but he doesn't fight out of this position. He waits to get into his rhythm, as we can see here, slip, 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 and now he's going to start stepping in with his feet before he starts doing anything. Even though he doesn't have to always step with his jab, for the most part, getting into that rhythm so he can start getting control of Joshua, but not really getting any information with it. Now, as we go back to the final clip or the beginning clip, we can see, again, first round, a lot of this stuff going on. And we can see basically all the patterns of the fight kind of playing out in this one clip. And we can see how they can kind of all be affected. Number one, how do we get to that position back there? Well, we don't have to, because if Usyk can start controlling the space with his probes, with his rear hand, and using his slip counters, he can start alienating Joshua from his positions here. Okay, but again, he doesn't. So he has to find a way to get back onto Joshua's line, and he has to get into his rhythm where he starts feinting and stepping hard on the line, and then again, creating a very common pattern. Now again, even if neither one of them make those adjustments and they find themselves in this position, Joshua still has the opportunity to make the adjustment to come back with big pull counters to the body instead of the head, and still find other opportunities for offense. Anyway, there are a ton of adjustments to be made, a ton of things to be done in this fight for both fighters to improve, because again, Usyk fought very well. He dominated the fight. It was a complete mismatch, the first fight, but there were still a lot of things that Usyk can improve upon, and a lot of things that if he doesn't, that Anthony Joshua may very well find an opportunity to outscore Usyk, keep him on the outside, as long as he's not falling for a lot of those little fake traps here, Usyk slipping to the front foot, and he can take advantage of that stuff. So anyway, it's going to be a very interesting fight. I am very much looking forward to watching Usyk win the fight. I think he's going to dominate Joshua. Even though there are keys to victory for Joshua to win, it's still going to be very difficult to fight someone who's as skilled, who's seen as much as Usyk, who can do as much as Usyk, and I expect it to be maybe not as one-sided of a beatdown early, but probably a one-sided beatdown late, unless Usyk catches Joshua real good in the first round and is able to drop him and stop him. But I don't necessarily see that happening. But If it does happen, I expect it to be in the first round. If not, it could be in like the 10th. But yeah, I'm expecting to be a pretty dominant performance from Usyk. As one thing I really don't expect is Joshua to be able to use his rear hand probe as effectively as Usyk may be able to use his rear hand probe in this fight. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you guys want more film studies like this, not like this, but full fight film studies, we watch entire fights, all of the fights, post-fight on Patreon. It's $10 to sign up, $10 a month. And if you guys are looking for coaching, it's $50 to sign up, $50 a month. And if you send in videos every day, I'll do my best to get back to you with videos and comments and ways to improve every day. Also, if you're interested in learning the absolute best ways to get on and off the line, set up your most powerful punches, check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System. It's just the absolute easiest way to learn and understand fighting. Inside it, there are even some film studies that I teach to teach my theory on fighting and teaching people the best and the fastest system to learn what's going on in the ring so you can start competing with people at a high level. So check it out, Fouts Boxing Combat System. And yeah, if you guys got any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. All right, later.